2016 had some good games and all, but honestly, it's time to move on. We're here to talk about the top 10 upcoming games of 2017, but we're talking about the first half of the year. So if there's a game you're really looking forward to in 2017 and you don't see it in this list, it's probably because it's coming out later on in the third or fourth quarter of the year. Also note that this video is being made prior to Nintendo Switch's big final announcement announcing some release games for it, so you're not going to see a lot of those on this list. That's the reason why. But anyway, let's get started off with number 10. Sniper Elite 4 is releasing soon, and it's a follow-up to a game that genuinely surprised me. Sniper Elite 3 was really ridiculous, dumb, stupid, and awesome, and really fun, and Sniper Elite 4 looks to continue the trend. Honestly, it looks very similar to Sniper Elite 3, just by taking place in a different area of World War II this time around. The battlefield is Italy as opposed to Sniper Elite 3's Africa, but once again, you're a badass sniper dude with a fancy haircut, and you're firing bullets in slow motion, and you're exploding Nazi skulls. It's good shooting, simple fun, and that's why I'm definitely keeping my eye on it. And at number 9, we have Gravity Rush 2, which is basically going bigger and better than the original Gravity Rush in a lot of ways. The PS4 exclusive is adding a lot of different ways to manipulate gravity to your advantage. First of all, you can change gravity like you did in the original game, but two new styles called Lunar and Jupiter allow you to increase your speed and jump higher, or weigh yourself down and get heavier, respectively. It seems like really interesting stuff, and especially how they're integrating it into the combat and really kind of adding a bit more of another layer of depth to the combat. Not only that, the game is also apparently 2.5 larger in a map size than the original game, as well as almost double the length. Not only that, this game is developed for console, not for a mobile Vita device, so I think there's just going to be a lot more going on with Gravity Rush 2, and honestly, I can't wait to see what Sony cooked up for this one. And at number 8, we have Yooka-Laylee, a Kickstarter darling that was fueled probably by a lot of feelings of nostalgia out there, because so many people still clamor for another Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong, or Crash Bandicoot, and it looks like Yooka-Laylee is definitely going to scratch that itch. The game has been in development for quite a while now since the initial Kickstarter, but it's looking really promising. It doesn't look like anything else on the market right now, but it also looks a lot like stuff that was on the market 20 years ago. I think Yooka-Laylee needs to really prove itself on just how straight up fun it is. You know, if it's just a carbon copy of some older platformers, that might not be enough for some people. Some people may be bored of that, but I'm hoping that a combination of maybe some new gameplay elements and just the whimsy and the color and the art style and good music could possibly make Yooka-Laylee one for the history books. Thankfully, we'll finally be able to play it in March. And at number 7, we have Halo Wars 2, a game that was a surprise announcement from Xbox at last E3, but definitely a fan pleaser. I don't know if you played the original Halo Wars, not a ton of people did, but it was insanely underrated and a really awesome RTS that expanded and did a really good job with the Halo lore. It's being developed by 343 Industries and Creative Assembly, and of course published by Microsoft. The gameplay and the visuals look pretty damn incredible, but what I'm really curious to see is how they really take the lore forward, because this game actually takes place after Halo 5 Guardians, and the main enemy is going to be the Banished, taking place of the Covenant. But the real meat and potatoes here could possibly be the multiplayer with a bunch of new modes and familiar modes, as well as Blitz, a mode that combines elements from a collectible card game style game that you're probably familiar with. The beta had deathmatch and domination, and judging from the responses by some people who played it, it seems like it's shaping up to be pretty awesome. And at number 6, we have Ghost Recon Wildlands, a game that I've been watching very closely, but also with some skepticism. You know, judging by Ubisoft's track record lately, not a ton of people are happy with them, and the Division left people very, I guess, divided. But on paper, and the general presentation of Ghost Recon Wildlands makes it look amazing. It looks like a third-person tactical Far Cry, and that is certainly not a bad thing, but with its online multiplayer and open world, Ghost Recon Wildlands is definitely ambitious, and it's really going to be a sight to behold if they actually pull it off. I hope they do, because Ghost Recon games are mostly really freaking awesome, and I'd like that trend to continue, please and thank you. And at number 5, we have For Honor, another game that seems pretty interesting and not like anything else we've been playing recently. A game focused more on slow, tactical, and intense sword battling. Seems like a pretty unique thing, focusing on all different types of warriors using weapons from katanas to axes. And after checking out a lot of stuff and seeing it at E3, there's some really promising single-player campaign elements there, but the multiplayer seems to be what Ubisoft is really hoping for with this. And if it does turn out to be as challenging as it looks, where timing and tactics are everything, it could honestly fare something like Dark Souls' multiplayer. I know that sounds crazy and not the best comparison, but in terms of actual challenge, I think that's something that a lot of people are hoping for. For Honor just looks kind of cool. I hope it's good. Swords are awesome. And at number 4, we have Horizon Zero Dawn. This PlayStation exclusive developed by Guerrilla Games has a lot of anticipation behind it, honestly, because of a good thing. I think a lot of players really just like new IP or new games that just aren't sequels of another game. Horizon Zero Dawn is a completely new game with a new story, new characters, and a new world surrounded in some mystery, and I think players really want to figure that out. I know I certainly do, and honestly, the game looks pretty fun. It's open world, action-adventure style RPG stuff with hunting elements, and that whole weird sci-fi element where the animals are actual robots and the humans are primitive natives. It just seems really weird and out there. You've probably heard this before. That's why it looks different and interesting. And we're all really sitting around here hoping that this game lives up to the potential. And at number 3, we have Persona 5. Honestly, this is the type of game that is so intensely anticipated from its release in Japan. Some people want this game so much, they import the Japanese version and play the game not knowing any Japanese. I think that right there should tell you how good the Persona games are. Persona 5 has a similar setup, but it's more advanced. This time around, you play as a silent protagonist, and you jump between two worlds, managing your regular school life, and battling enemies in another dimension with your Persona powers. It's a turn-based battle system with new added attacks and abilities, and ways to tackle the shadows, but one of the most interesting things that caught my eye is just the general visual style of this game. All the Persona games have a really awesome look to them, but Persona 5 looks pretty freaking out of this world and unlike a lot of other games we've played. If Persona 5 is anything like the previous games, the battle systems are good, the characters are lovable and memorable, and it'll be a game that you'll want to sink tons and tons of hours into. We'll find out for sure when it finally gets its Western release in April. And at number 2, we have Mass Effect Andromeda, which finally officially has a release date of March 21st. Surprisingly enough though, at the time of making this video, we still haven't seen a ton of this game. Although it does look fairly good, the last gameplay reveal did raise a lot of questions for some people. Visually, the game looks good, and it looks like the action this time around is really emphasizing fast-paced stuff. But honestly, the most die-hard Mass Effect fans that are excited for this game, because some aren't, the ones that are really just looking forward to exploring a new quadrant of the galaxy, meeting new space friends, and having sex with new space people. I don't know. I'm really hoping Mass Effect Andromeda is worth the hype. We really don't know if it does until it releases, but honestly, it seems like some of the hype might be real. Although I just used the word hype, and in 2017, we need to keep our hype in check. Remember last year? And at number 1, we have Resident Evil 7, technically kicking off 2017, starting as one of the bigger releases. There's a lot riding on Resident Evil 7, I think, for Capcom and the Resident Evil series, and the future of VR. Resident Evil 7 is in the universe of Resident Evil, but it looks like a completely different setup, a new style of gameplay, and the fact that the thing is on VR. Unfortunately, just a PSVR exclusive, but VR nonetheless, it needs to be the first really solid killer app for VR. Can it live up to those expectations? I don't know, but what I just really hope is that this is a good game that does somehow tie into the Resident Evil lore in a smooth way. But it looks scary as hell, and I think that's what they're trying to do, go back to their roots of actually being creepy and adding that sense of dread, and oh my god, I really hope they nail it, because it just seems so out there and weird and different. We're all incredibly skeptical here, but we're also the most excited to finally get the final game in our hands. So that's why it's number 1 on our list, but we're really looking forward to the rest of 2017. We do also have some bonus games for you guys, including Nier Automata, Nioh, and Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. These are our most anticipated games releasing in the first half of 2017. We definitely want to hear yours down in the comments. We know you guys are going to have a different list, but we do want to hear it. Share it with us. Let's talk about this stuff. You guys know the drill by now. Liking and subscribing helps us out a ton. But as always, I'm Jake Baldino. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.